Good morning, Bethel family. Welcome to today's Convos and Coffee. As you know, this is the year of freedom, and we've been talking about freedom, and we are going to talk again about freedom. So let's go to Romans 6, verse 18, and it reads, "You have been set free from sin and have become slaves to righteousness." Hallelujah. It is such a beautiful thing what Jesus did on the cross to free us from sin. We no longer have bondage over us. We no longer have things holding us back. Sin is not a barrier for us to have a relationship with God. And because of his blood, we have been set free from sin. And let's celebrate that. Let's celebrate the fact that God has freed us, and we are free indeed because of our God. But it doesn't stop there. We don't just get freed of sin, but the second part of the verse says, "And you have become slaves to righteousness." So we actually have two options as human beings. We have the option to walk and be, for the lack of a better word, a servant or a slave to sin, or a slave to righteousness, or a slave to God. And so when Jesus died on the cross, we were then called to step up and follow his example, to do the same thing that he did, which was to die to self. And if we wanted to accept the grace of God, that we needed to follow in the steps of Jesus to become like him. And so we, as Christians, accepted the grace that God poured out, that covered us, the freedom that God has placed over our lives as a banner. And then we were adopted into his family, and that then called us to be slaves or servants of righteousness. As Christians, we are called to now be mini Christs, to become like Christ. And once we were taken out of the bondage of sin, we were then put into righteousness, into right standing with God. And so, Bethel family, as we go about our lives, as we go about our days, continue to remind yourself that you're not a slave to sin. The things of this earth, the bondage that sin puts us in, doesn't have power over us. But we are now slaves. We are now servants of righteousness. We are, one, in right standing with God, but two, we are empowered to live a life that is pleasing to Christ. We are empowered to live a life that is called holy. And so when you feel like you're in a moment of weakness, remember that God has put freedom over your life. He has put a banner over your life. He has put a banner over your family. He has put a banner over your kids. He's put a banner over your relationships. There is freedom for you, and he, our God, will give you strength to continue to become more like him in your everyday life, to become holy, to continue to walk in righteousness. God will give you the strength and the endurance to do that in your daily life. And so whenever you feel exhausted, whenever you feel tired, if you even feel like that right now, just take a moment to sit in the freedom that God has put over us, and remember that we are, as Christians, we are in right standing with God, and he will continue to provide everything that we need to make the right decision. He will give us the strength to walk out of situations, to get out of temptation. And so just remember, Bethel family, you are free, and and there is no bondage of sin over us anymore. Be blessed. We love you, and remember, you belong.